I've had a pretty bad oil leak on my 7.3 liter Powerstroke for years, and I've got a 3-day weekend, and I thought I'd do something about it. So I put a lot of research into it, and oil typically leaks from the top of the motor, and it comes from either the oil pump itself or the quick release fittings on the hoses, and that oil runs down the back of the motor around the transmission, and it could appear it's a rear main seal leak, or it could be some people may think it's coming from the valve cover gaskets, but the oil, that's where the oil is coming from. It's coming from the top of the motor. So I'm going to need to pull the oil pump out, and in order to do that, I'm going to have to remove the fuel bowl. It's the easiest way to do it. I've seen videos where you don't remove the fuel bowl and you got to remove all the turbo stuff. I'm not going to do that. So I'm going to reseal the oil pump, but since I got the fuel bowl out, I'm going to reseal that. So what I'd like to do now is just talk about some of the parts and special tools you're going to need in order to do this repair. So it's just got a simple pan, the oil pan. That pan is going to be used when I work on my oil pump and the fuel bowl. The next thing, of course, I've got all brand new hoses. You can either get these made at a hydraulic shop. I got these on eBay. These do not have the quick release fittings. These are not the stock hoses. You don't want to put stock hoses back on. For one, they're just going to leak again, and two, these are much more economical. I think these are about 170 bucks or something like that. So got that. You got to have your quick release tool. You got that, and it looks like a ball mark fork, but you're just simply going to use this to pop those quick release fittings out. I'll use it one time and sit in my toolbox forever. So you got that. Next thing is you'll need to get an 1.8" socket. You'll need this on the oil pump. Some people may not have that. The other thing is you'll need to get this rebuild kit. I got this on eBay. It comes with a non-serviceable plug, and it comes with new seals. See them right there. And it comes with some bottles of 680 Loctite. So you got that. You're going to want to read this several times. Make sure you understand what's going on. Oh, the next thing is I've got a siphon pump. I'm going to use this to pump down the oil reservoir before I pull the oil pump out, because if you don't do that, oil is just going to go everywhere. So I got that. Next thing is I've got a rebuild kit for the fuel bowl itself, and that comes with a bunch of seals. Read through this, make sure you understand it. I got this on eBay. The other thing is on the fuel bowl, there's a pressure relief valve that's made out of pot metal. It's notorious to break. And my luck, I would take it apart and break it, and I'd be screwed. So I went ahead and bought this on eBay. It's a billet aluminum one. It comes with this blue spring. I've read that's important. You want to replace that. I think this was like 40 bucks or something, but got that. The other thing, just quick things, I've got some brake cleaner, because you'll use that to clean out the oil on top of the motor. You get lacquer thinner. That's going to help you when you clean your fuel bowl. And then I've got a hose. This is just a hose off one of my funnels. It could be any hose, but what you're going to do is you're going to connect this to the hose that comes from the fuel bowl, and that hose runs down on the passenger side by the front axle, and you're just going to slip this over the hose and drain that fuel into a cup so it doesn't go everywhere. And lastly, I've got a tarp underneath my vehicle to collect all the oil and stuff, so let's get into it. So here's the detail of the fuel bowl, and as you can see, we've got two of these lines we have to remove. We've got an inlet, and where the pressure relief valve is, we've got to remove that. If you want to go up to the motor, get a better picture. I've got the cover removed. I've got the fuel filter taken out. I got the fuel drained, and as you go along, I guess you just have to remove any of these electrical lines that are in your way. I'm going to try to remove as little as possible. There's the pressure relief valve. fuel lines down in there. So just have to start taking this stuff off. And trying to hold the camera steady, but you could tell the inside the fuel bowl is pretty cruddy. We're going to get all that cleaned up. The front of the reservoir, get my light, my shop light. You can see there's those two bolts right there. There's one there, and the other one's right there. You're going to take those. You're not going to take them completely out. You're just going to loosen them. That's what holds the fuel bowl to the reservoir. So it's what I've read. It's important that you don't wiggle. You don't wiggle these lines and stuff. You want to twist them to get them out. So we're going to take the fuel bowl out. Okay, now you see what we have. I went ahead and disconnected these fuel lines here. I disconnected the drain hose. That's the electrical connection to the fuel bowl. Disconnected this, and then this line to the pressure relief valve. Connected that. Now, the bolts I was telling you about in the front, let me move my shop light. It's kind of hard here. You can see the bolts are loose. They're just there. So we're gonna go ahead. There's the other one, just there, loose. So the next thing we're gonna do, incidentally, this is your high pressure oil pump. I'll be taking that out next. So what you're going to want to do is loosen this. This is the sensor that goes to the top of the reservoir, and you're going to take your siphon pump and you're going to siphon out as much of that oil as you can before you start loosening any bolts of the oil pump, or else oil's going to go everywhere. So let's get going. All right, your next step, you'll have to remove this cover plate. It's located, covers this hole right here, and you'll remove this 18mm bolt. It's got a thick washer. Some of the videos I watched said that it's possible you could drop that washer down in the block. Others say that it's too big to go in there. I wouldn't take a chance. Just be very, very careful taking that out. The other thing is, on the back side here, there's a 10mm bolt right here. That 10mm bolt is back over in here. Take that out. Then you'll have to remove this. That's a 19mm nut. I went ahead and loosened it. And I'll go ahead and take this stuff off. You see what I'm talking about. But this stuff just slides off the shaft. And then there's another little piece of electrical connection. So you're going to take that off. And then what you'll see is this this part right here. You're going to need a 1 1/8" deep well socket to get that off. And once you remove that, then this high pressure oil pump should come right out. So what I realized was my socket's not deep enough. So I stayed busy yesterday, and I went ahead and rebuilt the fuel bowl. There's that billet aluminum part. Got that on there. I got all the new seals and everything. I cleaned it up with paint thinner. There's all the seals that came out of it. And I went ahead and left all these fuel line seals off. Those go right here. And I left them all off because once I get the oil pump out, I'm going to spray the valley with brake cleaner, and I don't want to mess these up. So I need to get that a deep well socket. Mine wasn't deep enough, and I'll be able to get the oil pump pulled out. So here's a better look at the pump. I got it out, and there's probably some better videos on YouTube to get that out. I'm not set up to do all that, but this is how it would sit in the motor, just like this. This is your high pressure oil lines. You can see one, I even had a hard time with the tool. You can see the springs that are inside. We're going to get rid of all these springs and just use regular fittings. I'm going to get rid of all that stuff. You can see that this is where one of the 10mm bolts is. This is where the other one is. And this is where the IPR valve was. This came out. This went right in there. Save you some time. This is a deep well 1 1/8 deep well socket, 1/2 inch drive, and this one was 3.5 inches long. If you go to Lowe's or any of your standard places to get a deep well socket, they're only going to be 3 inches long. They're not going to be enough. And luckily, my brother-in-law is right down the street, and I went down there and he's set up. He's got a lot of more high-end tools. So this was a 3.5 inch long extended deep well socket. So I got my instructions. I'm going to get this cleaned up. I'm going to get my reseal kit going, and then hopefully I'll be ready to put all this stuff back together. Okay, I got the oil pump all cleaned up. I got the springs, all these springs and these old fittings. These are garbage. Those are done. Got the new fittings from the hose kit installed with those come with new O-rings. I went ahead and installed the IPR valve because it was a pain in the butt trying to do it while it was in the truck. And got the non-serviceable plug, the new one installed. It's got longer threads. It's got Loctite installed, and the kit says that this has to sit for 24 hours, so I can't do anything today, but tomorrow I'll go ahead and put it back in the truck. And now what I want to show you is the hoses. This is the new hose I'm putting on. This is the old hose. So you can see the old hose is definitely a lot smaller than the new hose. So I'm putting bigger hoses, more flow. I discovered that this crossover hose right here was never installed on my truck, but I've got plugs on the heads where these are going to go, so this would be an upgrade for my truck. I'm going to go ahead and put that in. Went ahead and cleaned out the valley. There's just a ton of oil in there. I took the old gasket off of the reservoir for where the pump goes. I'm going to clean all that with brake cleaner, get it all nice and clean, and I'm done for the day. Well, I've got the new hydraulic lines all installed. See, you got them right here. Got rid of all those stock hoses, got all brand new fittings. And you see these are heavy duty hoses. They're all connected in to the heads over there. And if you can see in the back, there's a crossover right there. There's a crossover hose that came with the kit. Originally, my truck only had plugs for some strange reason, but I just simply took the plugs out and put the crossover hose in, and I was good to go. But one thing I want to point out, this thing right here, the IPR, there's a video out there that shows that you have to take that out first before you take the pump out, and that's not true. And I wrestled with that almost a whole day trying to get that out, but there's two 10mm bolts. One's in here and one's over here. You just take those out, it comes right out. And then you know, once you have it on the bench, you can use your 1 1/8 socket and take that out, and it would make the job a whole lot easier. You do not have to take that out with the pump installed in the vehicle. So well, it looks like we're good to go here. I'm going to go finish this assembly, and I'll be back. I just got done tightening the 18mm drive bolt for the high pressure oil pump, and you're going to want to use a torque wrench. And you see I got a wrench holding the crank
you're gonna have to do that because the motor turns. So you're gonna want to tighten that bolt down to 95 foot-pounds, and then clean up that surface before you put the plate on, and put some RTV sealant on that. Seal it up really good. And then finally, before you put the sensor back on the top of the reservoir, you're going to want to put maybe a quart of oil in there because it's bone dry. You don't want to start it, bone dry. So I think once I get all that done, I'll have the oil pump done, and then I can move on to putting the fuel bowl back in. I just finished installing the fuel bowl. I didn't provide a lot of detail on that. Basically just put the fuel bowl in and connect all the bolts up and run the lines into it. You want to make sure you have the big, thick rubber bushings on all the fuel lines going into the fuel bowl. The only leak I had on my high pressure oil pump was at that non-serviceable plug. The lines were fine. No oil leaks there. So I guess you really didn't even need I didn't even need all the O-rings in the high pressure oil pump kit, because most of the O-rings were for the lines, and since I replaced the lines with an aftermarket line, I really didn't need those, so all I really needed was the plug. So that concludes the project. I got all the oil and everything cleaned up, and hopefully there'll be no leaks, and hopefully this will be a good project for you.